my name is Susan. How do we make the right choices in life? How do we make the right choices in life, and how do we find our life purpose or life path? This is an important question for everyone. I doubt that there is a person who has not asked themselves these questions. Firstly, you've been lied to in school. In school, there is like zero focus on working with yourself, on the importance of your psychology and how you feel mentally and emotionally. The focus is on the outside, on the physical stuff. So guess what? You can be an expert, you can have superb degrees, you can be very successful on the outside, used an expert to buy the correct house. But then you get divorced and you have to sell the house, and the house did not give you any safety. And to be comfortable with your life path, to be comfortable with your choices, you have to look elsewhere. It doesn't matter how good you are with your degrees. It doesn't matter the way you may think that it does. Especially not when you stand in front of difficult things on the outside and you feel stressed and you think that if I only make more effort, everything will solve itself. But it won't. So in the school, they lie to you. It's all about the inside. And when we encounter problems in our life, the most normal solution is to go to the psychologist. Meaning we don't read an extra manual on how to make a better choice when you're going to buy that house, or to read any sort of expert manual on anything. We instinctively know that it is all about fixing what's inside. And what is fun about that is that when you go to a psychologist, it can be for many number of reasons. Maybe you are just a bit depressed and don't feel happy. And sometimes you can identify problematic areas in your life. And for some reason, you do not wish to discuss this with an expert in the different areas. You want to go to a psychologist in order to explain your life situation. Isn't this a bit curious, do you think? And that is because all human beings intrinsically know that it is about this inner understanding, attitude, and being true to yourself. When we say, help me to make the right choice, we don't just go to any expert to make that right choice. What we're really trying to say is, help me make the right choice for me. And I give this example of buying a house. Even if someone would recommend that this is a good house, you have to go there because you have to confirm to yourself that you like it. And what you like is different from what I like and from what anyone else may like. So what you're really saying when you try to find a direction in your life is not, I have a master's degree in this, or I am good at this, or I have the resources to do that. What you're really saying is, how can I make the perfect, genuine decision that is aligned with me, what I genuinely want, because that is the degree of how successful I will be. That is how happy I will be. Not successful in that I have this much money and therefore I'm this and this successful. No, it means how happy you will be. Because when you ask these bigger questions about life, help me make the right decisions. Help me be on my life path. You're not really asking anyone to help you confirm the right occupation. Oh, I always knew I was a baker. It's not about the specific occupation. It is about if you can bloom there. It is about if this correlates to everything you wish to express. If this working area with the people in there is the right place for you to be at. It's not about the making the choice to buy the perfect house. It's not about the practical details of whatever you are encountering on the outside. It's not about that. When you start feeling, depressed or anxious, or you have these questions coming up, these doubts, and you get all confused because the outside can't help you. You can't turn on the news and get any help with your personal life situation when you turn on the news. You can't really get help and direction. And school never prepared you for this, never even addressed it. you're trying to figure out who you are, and it seems like the outside world sometimes is gaslighting you to the fact that this is the simple cure to happiness, is that you have to understand yourself and you have to make choices in your life that corresponds to who you genuinely are. That's it. That's what makes you happy. So no single book can tell you exactly, if you do this and this, you will be happy. They can't. They can only direct you to find yourself, to be honest with yourself that this is the right choice for you. So I will be discussing this today. So let's say you have now learned that it's not about the physical components. You may buy that house and then you get a divorce and you sell the house and the house didn't make you safe. None of the outer stuff made you safe. And I have another example of that. When if rich parents would come to me and ask, like, what should we do with our son? We are aware that we have the economy, so he technically don't have to work one single day in his life. How should we raise him in regards to money? Should we give him all the money he wants and needs? Or should we on purpose withhold money from him and force him to create his own destiny? What should we do? And you may sit down there and say, oh gosh, Susan, what do you answer to a question like that? What is the right answer? The right answer is, if they are there in the process and if the kid is already pretty old, it's already too late. That's my answer. Because if you raised a kid and the kid is already aware that in your family, your focus and priority is money, then you already failed. You're already screwed. Because if you would have raised the family with the focus is love, love for the family, that's our focus, we take care of each other, and money was just something that was there but not important, it would not have been a problem. Because if it was love and values that was in the center of things, then the kid automatically would have understood his relationship to his parents. He would have understood what makes a good, stable, healthy person. And he would have understood also the dilemma with money. But if you do it like that, you can't win. If you give the child no money at all, he's going to hate you for making his life complicated. And he's going to believe his life is complicated because of his parents. And he's probably going to carry this idea for the rest of his life. Yeah, he should then go to a psychologist that will explain this to him, but it will not take away the fact that he will still blame his parents. Or they give him all the money he wants. And we have this idea that most of our problems in life is because of physical reasons, because of resources. So if I had any amount of money in the world, I can buy whatever I wanted to. I don't have to be afraid of my health or my happiness. I can buy a castle. I can be on a spa for the rest of my life. And if I am on a spa for the rest of my life and I'm having drinks on the beach, I am perfectly happy. Wrong. If you would give that opportunity to your kid, the kid would probably be suicidal in his 20s. That's the real fact, because what makes us happy is to become ourselves, and we become ourselves by challenging ourselves. And what is a challenge on the outside? I pause here. What is a challenge on the outside? I need you to understand this before we can continue. What is a challenge on the outside? You can ignore the whole idea that, oh, sometimes things just happen. No. Things just don't happen. I guarantee you there's a very logical reason for why they happen, the correlation to yourself. So why are you challenged on the outside? The challenge is a question that comes to meet you. And the question is, who are you? What will be your response? That is the challenge. That is the real problem. What is your choice? What is your response? And think carefully before you give me an answer, says this challenge. Think carefully before you give me an answer, because I will hold you to it. If you give the wrong answer to the challenge, the wrong answer to the question, who are you? It will feel more difficult as you pursue, and you may feel that your life is even more messy. And you even may feel some kind of weird guilt. And you don't know why you're feeling this weird guilt. But it is because you're not being honest with yourself. So let me explain this again. When life is developing, when we jump down to a place like this, seemingly without any memories, not knowing anything, we just have this idea that we should be continuing forward. Like you're pushing this big pile of a rock in front of you, and it's difficult and it's tough, and you keep pushing this rock in front of you, and it's so big, so you can't see what's on the other side of it, but you're just gonna continue no matter what. That is basically how many of us feel life is. We have no idea. We are continuing forward. No idea what's gonna happen. No idea what's gonna meet us there. We only know one thing. If I stop, I'm gonna get depressed. So I have to continue. That is what we know. And what is really happening is that you have this will inside, and this is your potential, and this is your genuine you, but it's not manifested yet, so to speak. In my previous video, I explain all about this feminine principle, and this is the potential. And you have to use your conscious you to open this up, to manifest it, to become. And then you become from like a seed to a flower you become. That's all you have to think about, really. Ignore all the weird details on the outside. Try to block whatever you heard in school that was only lies, and focus about this. So when you want something, life goes in and it removes, or it looks at the stuff that is preventing you from expressing this, from being yourself, and it pulls it out, puts it on the outside, and it comes to meet you. And you call this a challenge. And it is a challenge because in this problem that you have now on the outside, and I can guarantee you that all of you who are watching this probably have at least one problem they're battling right now. You look at this problem. In this problem is the solution, is the freedom. But in it is also your doubt and your question. And life is now asking you this question. Who are you? Answer with a correct response. Why some people use intuition when they stand in front of challenges. And if this becomes too difficult for you to handle, to use your intuition, you may freak out and you say, oh God, I need this manual. I have to check out how to make the best house buy. You understand what I'm saying? We kind of then jump to the outside to get assistance and help because we feel an anxiety in front of this problem. The best way to address this problem is to try to give a genuine response. What are you really feeling? And genuine can mean a lot of stuff that can come up from you when you are being genuine in this situation. It can be that you feel like this is a distraction. You may feel that I have to confront this specific detail in this whole thing. So maybe the problem consists of many parts, but you start to identify what the real problem is, what you're really trying to avoid, why this is a problem. And you have to identify the resistance for you to become yourself. Once you are free in this aspect, the problem goes away. It automatically resolves. And therefore, certain situations can be very difficult in your life, while your friend have no problem at all in the very same area. And you may look and think like, what the hell? Why is he having such an easy time with this? And I'm struggling so much because his challenge is not in that area, it's in another area. And his problem is going to manifest in a certain area where the props are perfect to make the point across for you to communicate with yourself. So you can communicate with other people about how you're going to solve your problems, but they can't solve it for you. They can come with advice and you have to listen to this advice. You still have to deal with it yourself. I can't take a billionaire who buys away all your problems and expect you to be happy. You will manifest the exact same problems again because it's not the physical problem in itself. It is the solution. It is the question in itself, a riddle that you have to resolve from within. So the rich kid who doesn't have to work, who can be in a spa all day long, will be suicidal because he doesn't get to express himself. Because as soon as the challenge appears, he buys it away. The money makes it go away. So all the opportunities for him to be happy, to bring himself forward, which is the only thing that makes us happy, we have to keep pushing this rock forward. Remember, if we stop, we're going to get depressed. all his possibilities to be happy that is arising as challenges, he buys away with money. So he dampens himself. He becomes more and more low. He doesn't get to express himself and eventually becomes depressed because nothing is happening in his life. And when we don't understand that the outside is, in a certain sense, completely irrelevant, and we give the example of money again, this rich kid, he realized he can't be on a spa all day long or being partying all day long. It doesn't make him happy. So I'm just going to start a business, like be preoccupied with something. So this person still has so much money. So he buys something, he has everything covered. He still don't have to do a real effort. So nothing happens with it because it's no creative spark involved in the project. You sometimes see this with like a famous person and they have a kid. And the kid have no idea what to do with their life because they stand in the shadow of this very famous person. So they sometimes choose the exact same occupation. And sometimes we don't get like the impression that they're very good at it, but it's the easy way out. What happens here that we have an imbalance in power. The child will always feel that it's second to its parent. So normally this is a super bad idea. Usually in nature, when you have children and the children then are siblings towards each other, they don't choose the same area to focus on because they don't compete with each other. So like if one sibling becomes a very good academic, another one might become a musician. They usually don't do the same area. So in this case scenario, you have to spread out in order not to compare yourself with the other person. Because you have to be genuine with yourself. You have to see that what you are facing is your challenge to become yourself. And you're going to be equally famous as the famous person, so to speak. Because it's not about being famous and it's not about hierarchies. And I've explained this so many times. You don't dress your pet dog in a fancy dress and give it a title and admire it and bow to it. You don't do that. You don't do that to the trees in the forest either. So please don't do that. Don't think that your liver should be praised from your kidneys or whatever. I mean, just act sane and normal. If you think or behave like a person has more worth than you, that you should be bowing to some person, if you have that mindset, you are participating in a very unhealthy relationship to yourself and nature. If they are high, it means that you are low. And it will be somewhat difficult for me to explain this, meeting yourself, getting in contact with yourself, being your genuine you, if you have this mindset. So take that as a little extra exercise every day. Are you looking at a famous person and thinking that person is famous? Wow. Or can you see it as a human being and be happy if another person is happy? If they are happy, you don't know. You don't become automatically happy because you're famous, that's for sure. We know about the suicidal rate there. So there's no such correlation. You are happy if you feel that you are genuinely expressing yourself, answering your own questions, and giving a correct response when the challenges occurs to you. That's all. That's the same formula. It doesn't matter if you're a king or a peasant. It doesn't matter which country you're living in. It's the same for everyone. And that's good. That's actually what makes us all equal and what makes you able to trust yourself and for us to be buddies with each other and help each other out because we all experience the same challenge here. So, bear with me. This is why challenges happens. You have to figure this out and move on. And that's also why when we speak about life purpose, some of us have a very strong inclination inside. Yes, I want to do that. I want to go in that direction. And what's good with that, usually it comes with anxiety because then we feel bad when we're not going in that direction. And it's difficult to go in that direction because why you're feeling this to start with is because this is the shortest path to your own self-fulfillment. If you want to go here, you're going to make every effort you can to reach there. And it's not this particular goal that it's important. Never mind the goal. There's no linear time. This is just a concept. But you have this fixed idea of you wanting to go here. So when the challenges comes, you are more likely to take on the challenges because you want to reach here. Do you understand? And when you're here, you feel free because you're more self-fulfilled. You're free. You're free now. But if you have this strong want and will that you want to accomplish and you don't go after it, you're going to feel bad because we only ever chasing one thing, ourselves. Yes, including the person that you're attracted to is a part of yourself. If you are a woman and you're attracted to a certain man, it is his manly core that is connecting with something in your relationship to yourself that enables you to come closer to yourself. And as you come closer to yourself, you are in love with the other person and vice versa. It's all about you. And the more you allow yourself to be you, the more you're going to allow other people to be themselves. If you're holding yourself prison, you're going to hold other people prison. And when you want to find your life path and make the right choices, it's all about being as genuine to yourself as you can and being as genuine to other people as you can. So, many of us, they know that, it's not about how much of an expert I am on things on the outside, how successful I may be, because I still can feel the same problems and have this deep philosophical life existential questions of why am I here? What is my purpose? Am I doing the right thing? Am I wasting my time? These are the deep questions, and we can't really expect anyone to answer these questions for us, but sometimes we go to a psychologist. And here I'm going to do a fun comparison. What is the difference if you choose to go to... Okay, let's make 4 comparisons. Okay, so everyone can identify themselves with this. 1, I go to an expert on the outside. That is someone who can help me with all physical stuff, like how to expertly buy the perfect house or whatever. Or make the perfect career choice, whatever. Or I go to a psychologist. Or you go to someone like me. Or you go to a life coach. What's the difference? Who would you choose? You can choose all of these options. Who do you choose? Who do you want to go to? To an expert who knows everything about everything on the outside, a psychologist, someone like me, and I'm going to explain exactly what am I? Or a life coach. What's the difference? What's the difference? First of all, can we agree on excluding the expert on the outside, that even if we get the perfect expert team on the outside and they try to set up our physical life as well as they can, it's still not gonna stop us from waking up in the night and asking the philosophical question about, am I doing the right thing here? Am I on the right path? Can we agree on that? So we have 3 other choices to choose from. We go to a psychologist. And this is the most common thing to do. And I find this so fascinating because it's so well accepted that if your life is not perfect, if you're having problems with your life in general, you can go to a psychologist. Or if you're depressed, you can go to a psychologist. And what I find so fascinating is that many people, they go to a psychologist and they bring up like physical problems in their life that the psychologist is not necessarily an expert on. But they need to explain it from the feeling perspective, not from the expert perspective. I can't go to an advisor in how to buy a house and start talking about my feelings. They will say, oh, okay, I leave you to think and feel about that then. You know what I'm saying? I'm not your therapist, they're gonna say. But that's super important for us. Because you can't make an objective right choice in your life. It's personal to you. You have to be in correlation with you. Like, what if you happen to be a doctor and it was never your choice? You don't want to be a doctor. Your parents want you to be a doctor and you're miserable. You have to come from you. That's the only solution for your life path and your happiness. So can we agree on that? So you go to the psychologist and the psychologist have to hear everything that no one else in your life has ever listened to. All your doubts and feelings you had, you know logically that you've done this and this, but it still doesn't feel right. Right? Can you recognize this? And you feel almost like a crazy person for just having to speak about so many details that you have been thinking and feeling about and haven't been able to share with no one. Because school never taught you this. School never said it was important. only it was super important and it was the most important thing. So you kept it to yourself and you didn't want to bother other people who were busy with outer details of their life, trying to find an expert to buy the perfect house, while everyone, everywhere is feeling the exact same stuff. And some people give up and say, oh, just smile and be happy and be grateful because it's not going to be better than this. Well, they're lying. We don't have to just smile and be happy. We're actually going to solve this dilemma now. We're going to solve this dilemma. So you go to a psychologist, and a psychologist, if it's a good psychologist, is going to go to the patterns you have inside, your concepts you have about yourself. That's usually formed in the childhood. Because in the childhood, we really, really need super parents. And with a super parents, I mean a healthy parent, someone who is genuinely themselves. Because if you encounter a person who is genuinely themselves, they're going to allow you to be genuine yourself. But there is like zero chance that any one of us had such a childhood. So most of us had somewhat limited parents. They didn't need to be necessarily mean, even if someone perceived that their parents were mean. But they don't have to be. They still can have this handicap of being very closed themselves. So they can't reflect openness in you. They can't recognize you. They can't see you. They can't affirm you. They can't validate you. So you handicap yourself. You shut yourself down. And when you do that, it's going to create so much conflict within you. So many triggers, so many defense mechanisms. So you're going to go out there and be a fake version of yourself because that is how you believe that one survives. So when you meet these problems in your life, you have sometimes no idea even how to address it because you don't know how to give a genuine response. What do I want? No one has ever asked me what I want. They just threatened me with what I have to try to become, what I have to try to fake to be. They threatened me with this. Ever since I was a child, they threatened me with this. Act like this. Be like that. If you're not going to make it. You're not going to survive. So of course, I'm going to be limited in giving my genuine response when I need it the most. So we go to a psychologist. Hopefully they're good. Hopefully they make us see the relationships we had with our parents and we start feeling better. And then the outside reason like this, if you go to a psychologist and you get help, you automatically going to make a better house buyer. You automatically going to find a better partner and a better life, basically. It's not about what degree you have from university. Apparently, now they changed the rules. It's not about the degree you have from university. No, it's about your psychological health. So the world is spiritual in that sense, that they kind of recognize that if you want to have a successful life on the outside, and successful, I do mean happy. I don't mean how much money you have on the bank account. I mean happy. You actually have to work with yourself. If you go to someone like me, I'm not going to tell you otherwise. I'm still going to ask about your childhood and your relationship to your parents because relationships are everything. And I know we have to reach to the core for you to accept to be your genuine self. Yes, accept to be your genuine self. We have to reach there. The difference is that I use sight, as I call it. So forget about the normal 5 senses. A human being can use so much more. We use a super limited part of our brain. You are so much more. This part of you, your whole mind, is not even in this, I was going to say stupid linear time. It can think like a super connected, all-present being. So I use sight. When I look at you, I see energy structures. Yes, energy structures. I don't know how to say this. It's going to sound abstract. It's not abstract. It's like I could feel something when I touch it, or I could look outside and see that it's sun outside. I see it. I feel it. It's there. It's an energy structure. I see where the knots are. So when you come and ask me, should I buy that house? How is my relationship with that partner? I can visually see it and I can feel it in my system. I get the concept of the energy structure. And what I'm looking at is not, I'm going to make you to choose the perfect house or the perfect partner. What I'm looking at is how genuine is what you're expressing to me. And perhaps if you propose to me that this is going to be your choice, this is what you're in, I'm going to see how genuine this structure is with your genuine self. That's it. So I will guide you to be more genuine and say, this is not a perfect match for you. And I want you to recognize that it's not a perfect match for you and make you kind of feel what I am seeing and sensing. And there's so much humans don't know about communication. I'm sure you kind of understand what I'm saying. In this outer world, when we only use language like this makes no sense, Susan. But you know what I mean with intuition, and you kind of see and feel what the other person is trying to say. You kind of get it. You get like a concept, you kind of get it. So I guide you right on your life path. This is your genuine expression, and I help you find your genuine expression. I see what is hindering you. I see where you have your not, where you refuse to be yourself. And I try to use tactical methods to make you enable and accept to express that part of you, and even how you go about repairing yourself. And then things will be clear in your life. You will start making, so to speak, right choices. It will be easier to see what is your life path, and you feel more relaxed and everything like that. So it's super important. And a psychologist can't perhaps use sight unless they are actually a bit psychic or using themselves in another capacity and haven't been completely drowned by the propaganda bullshit from school. But if they are very good, they might use extra senses, right? Otherwise, they have to ask a lot of questions to figure out what is your problem, and it may take longer time. So this saves time. This site saves a lot of time. And a psychologist may believe that there is a norm, that you're supposed to be this and this, extroverted, you're supposed to behave like this and this. That is not true. You all are individual weirdos. So you all have your own perfect, unique structures, just like the different flowers in nature. You have your own unique structure. And the cure, or the solution for your happiness, is to be true to your genuine core. And that is also why you can't take up any kind of book and this manual works for everyone. If you follow this, you're going to be happy. No, you all have individual books. The only book you can ever read about making the right choices is a book that explains how you get in contact with what is the right choice for you. Does that make sense? So, and if you go to a life coach, I actually like sometimes life coaches more than psychologists because they use pedagogic. And the difference between pedagogic and psychology is that in psychology, you try to figure out what is wrong. What is wrong in this machinery? And when I have identified what is wrong, then my work is done. But a life coach who is trained in pedagogics is all about changing behavior in another person. And if you're a life coach, you want to accomplish a sense of making the other person believe in themselves so much so that they will continue forward. They use the person themselves and their own inner capacity to create success in their lives. So a life coach is not giving you money, here you can have a good life. They say, I believe in you. And they find a way to encourage you to be brave enough to continue forward. And one example with this is, say you're having a problem. You want to lose weight. Everyone can perhaps identify with this. You want to lose weight. And you think it's super complicated, and you use 100 different techniques. And what you're not understanding is that if this is a problem because you have two different conflicting wills inside of you because of this problem. One part of you wants to lose weight. Another part of you don't want to lose weight. So you have to fight with yourself. So all the different techniques on how to lose weight is based on this. They say things like, eat super healthy for 6 days. And on the 7th day, you can eat whatever you want. Just life's a party. And then they want to make this part doesn't want to lose weight happy. And at the same time, this part who wants to lose weight also happy. Or they say, you do create these delicious dishes, but they have so few calories, so you will still lose weight. Or you can eat as much as you want, but only of these ingredients, so you will lose weight. But many people, they struggle with these dietary tips and techniques, and some of them, they gain weight again as soon as they mastered one of them, because they still haven't solved this. They have two different competing wills in their body. But a life coach, if you take someone like Tony Robbins, he would say, okay, let's start by eliminating your doubt about what it is that you want. First, you have to figure out what you want. So he will work with this part that does not want to lose weight. And once that is gone, and you know that you want to lose weight, You don't need the 100 techniques. You will just lose weight because it's what you want. If you want to play a mobile game, you don't have to force yourself to do it. You will do it automatically because you want to do it. And it's the same with this. So a life coach saves you a lot of money because otherwise you would be struggling with so many techniques, so both time and money, struggling with so many techniques, and you're fighting against yourself instead of just removing the problem so there is no problem, so to speak. So they are uniting you. You become stronger yourself. They're uniting your will so that you will fight your way forward. And once you fight your way forward, you will find yourself dissolving these issues you actually had from childhood. You will actually fight your way through it. So the reason why it is this messed up is because we are in a society run by money. That is that the only thing that you are trained to be from school on is a consumer. And you are valued basically on how much money you have and how much you can consume. And the more of a luxury lifestyle you have, the more stuff you need. That is basically how life is valued. So you have to kind of ignore this stuff. So people who are trying to say dietary techniques, for example, they have to do what every salesperson have to do. These are the rules. First, they have to present you a problem and they have to make you believe that it is a problem, a danger. So they will create fear. And then they will explain to you how you are part of this dangerous situation and why you have to solve it. If you have overweight, you're going to have all these diseases and don't let that happen to you. Buy this technique. They're not going to say, if you strengthen your own concept about yourself and you realize you want to be healthy instead of unhealthy, you can do it yourself. They're not going to teach you that. Or a drug company is not going to say, you know what's good for health? Long walks in nature and positive thinking and natural herbs in nature. No one is ever going to tell you that. You're never going to see that in a commercial on TV because it's no money. Instead, they have to say, this is an unsolvable problem, these diseases exist and they are completely unsolvable unless you buy this product. It's all commercials, I'm sorry, and you are trained in pedagogics and commercials. I was going to say I've been there, but I studied pedagogics, I have a bachelor degree in it. You are trained to manufacture problems and fears. And it's the same for the propaganda in politics. You are trained to manufacture dangers and fears that doesn't exist. And sometimes you go to a pretty big degree in order to convince people that there is dangerous stuff out there. So you will buy my product. And they make you a part of the mess. They make you a part of the danger because you have to personally identify it with it in order to buy the product. So whatever someone is trying to sell to you, they're first going to start by scaring you. And then they're going to explain to why you can't withdraw from this danger, that it's real. And then they're going to give you the solution that you have to buy from them or follow them or whatever they want from you. So you have to dissociate from that. You have to understand that the real power is not that you're helpless. And you can't solve it by solving stuff on the outside. You can't outsmart the system on the outside. If you and your inner attitude is creating this problem, manifesting to you, then the solution is not to put in an even greater effort because it's just going to increase the problem. So if you're trying to lose weight, for example, and you still haven't addressed this part of you that does not want to lose weight, and you are pushing even more, both of these things are just going to be stronger. They're just going to rise to the occasion and just create a bigger problem and a lot more frustration. So we have to start by being clear about who we are, and united we can have focus and solve our problem. We have to give a genuine response to a problem. So when you are in a problem, don't try to dissociate from it by asking too many friends of what to do or asking too many experts of what to do, because it's a sort of like an escape for us. We don't want to face the personal question, so we kind of divert our attention outwards. So don't necessarily do that. When you are asking now, what should I do with my life? What is my right choice here? Try to stay with yourself and ask what your genuine response is. And as you start being better and better at this, you're going to start identifying where you have conflicting agendas, where you have conflicting views. And what enables you to push through this is your will to continue forward. Your will to continue forward is eventually gonna, I was going to say, force an answer out of you, force a solution out of you. And when you do that and you overcome challenges, what do you always say? Oh, I have an insight. I have overcome fear. I feel more confident. I feel more trusting and secure in myself. But if you don't rise to the occasion, if you don't take on that challenge, you actually possibly can feel worse. Because what's happening is that the response you give to the question, who are you, human being? And you say, oh, you lie. You refuse to answer the question and you hide, but you still have to answer the question eventually. So there's no point in waiting. What else good advice do I want to say on today's topic on finding your life path and making the right choice? I think I said what I want to say. I'm going to give you one more example though. Some people, they use psychology wrong. Some people use spirituality wrong. If you use spirituality wrong, you're trying to escape the problem. This is the problem. It's right in your face. You don't want to know about it. So you say, oh, the physical is bad. It's not important. Let's just think positive. The negative is bad. That's just escaping. That's just being delusional. You have to address the problem. If you have a wound, even if it sucks, even if it hurts, you have to look at it. Oh my God, I don't want to look at it. Keep looking. And you have to put some alcohol in it and clean it. And yeah, that sucks also. It also hurts. And after that, it's actually going to heal. It's going to be better for real, a real solution. But we don't just cover the problem and pretend it's not there, because that for sure is not going to make it go away. I hope you understand that. Don't try to cover your problem and hope it will go away. It won't go away. Don't try to go and watch TV and hope it will just disappear when you return. It won't. But I promise you, you can do something about it. I promise you, you can do that. We all have to do it. You're just like us. You're just like everyone else of us. We have to deal with it. We don't have to make it so dramatic, though. That's our choice. We make it dramatic because we have two different competing wills on us, and therefore it's dramatic. It doesn't have to be dramatic if we start to get along with ourselves, get along with nature, get along with life. We don't have to fight all the time. So instead of fighting, we have to figure out why this conflict even exists. And I'm going to do another video about that, because it's a video in itself to explain where your conflict comes from, to relate it to your childhood, that your parents weren't completely open with you, so you couldn't reflect yourself and become yourself. So you split. You created parts of you that were frustrated and angry, and you hid them away. And another part of you is trying to please and help, to make the problem go away, because if I'm a pleaser, if I just help and help and help, then eventually someone's going to help me. But it will never succeed because you forgot this part. You can't do anything when you're divided. Like, divide and conquer. Well, you are conquered because you're divided. You have to start uniting these parts of you, no matter how they hurt, because they're gonna force you to see the situation as it was. But you can heal yourself. You can heal yourself. And part of the solution to do that is whenever these trigger parts comes up, because they're going to protect you from ending up in more danger and more hurt, so they show up in your life, they show up in your conversation with other people. Look at them and give them love and say, now I'm here and I'm actually going to listen to you. Parents never listen to you. I'm going to listen to you. And you're going to be a tag team. You're going to team up with yourself. You're going to be super strong. You're going to be loyal and team up with yourself and be the best buddies to yourself. You're going to do that for yourself. I'm going to talk more about that. So that is a very constructive way of starting this and being very strong and powerful as you move forward. And remember, even if you feel weak, you are not weak. You're not weak. The only reason why you at this moment would perceive yourself as weak is because you have guilt towards yourself. And when we have guilt towards ourselves, we don't want to use force. We don't want to use our power. We don't think we deserve it. We are waiting for someone to say something. We are waiting for someone to judge us, to say that we are bad. We are waiting for someone to say that we are good enough. So we are not doing anything. We are not acting like our genuine selves. We're holding ourselves back. And of course, then we're going to start getting depressed. So I'm going to talk more about this. And please ask me your questions in the comment field. I will actually read them. I will base future videos on them. And I would gladly respond to them. I love genuine questions. So it's interesting for me to understand what kind of problems are you in. Does a video like this help you in these problems? What is still the problem? Please let me know. So what I more want to say, leave you with this concept as well. Life is not linear. Sometimes when we say, I want to find the truth, I want to find the truth about my life and my life purpose, and we look in the future. But I want to give you the example of the court instead, the courtroom. I want the truth, I want the whole truth. And someone says, well, you can't handle the truth. Well, I want the truth. I want to get to the core of the truth. Wait a minute. Then we're not saying, I want to go to the core of the truth and we look in the future. We look here. We look like this. Right? The core of the truth. And yes, that is what's scary. Everyone is standing like this. Oh my God, what is the truth? What is the verdict? What is the verdict? What's actually happened? This is the core of the truth. It's super scary because it's definite. It's the truth. It's not scary if we say truth is somewhere in the future. The future doesn't come. It's always today. And tomorrow is also today. I can never experience tomorrow. I can only experience today, because tomorrow, when I reach tomorrow, it will be today. Anyway, here, core truth. That is what I want you to meditate on and be with, because life is not linear. It's like a circle and with a center. And this center emanates from you, and this is what you split from, and you're trying to make sense of yourself again. Not life, you're trying to make sense of yourself. You puzzle these pieces together, and the outside will be harmonious in response. The core truth, this is what you're trying to find. So when you meet the challenges and problems, and you want to dissolve and go to the outside and any external things to distract yourself and make them make the choices for you, you're just avoiding this wound, this question. Who are you, human being? This core truth. So I leave you with that. Try to express yourself more genuine. Stay with the situation, not what your parents would have you say or what you think you're compelled to say. Try to give a genuine expression and learn that you're not that bad that you believe you are, so you have to put up a mask or whatever the outer world has taught you. Try to be brave and be yourself. Just like when we approach someone we like, we get so scared because it's like an encounter, not with another person. It's a much more closer encounter with yourself, because that other person represents a part of yourself. So if the person would reject you, you would feel like you were rejected by yourself, and it causes trauma and all of this. The meeting with yourself, that is the core. Don't get lost in the outer physical details. Even if you read the expert manual on how to buy that house, it still won't be the right house unless it comes from here. So, that was all for today. More again next week, and please leave your comments and your thoughts and questions under this video. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye for now.